Boro have won their last 2 games, giving us still an outside chance of getting ourselves back into the playoffs. But for me, the next 4 games could be crucial in deciding our season. What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today I want to look at Boro's next batch of fixtures, because for me the next 4 games I think are crucial in deciding where Boro might end up this season and if we end up in the playoffs. Now, of course, we've spoken about this, we've documented this time and time again. Boro have not only ran out of room for error when it comes for getting into the playoffs, we've now found ourselves actually playing catch up in the playoffs, sitting currently in 9th, 2 points off of the playoffs, which doesn't sound all that bad. However, when you look at the number of teams we are competing with, that's where I think the issue comes along. We've got Watford and Norwich right behind us, Blackburn, Bristol City in between us and the top 6, and 2 pretty decent sides who are keeping the playoff places warm at the moment. West Brom, who are doing a solid job, I would say. Coventry are the team who are quite simply running away with 5th at the moment, and if things continue in the manner that they are, with the inconsistency of the teams below them and Coventry's incredible form, they might actually end up sewing up a playoff place pretty quickly, which is crazy, but that's what we've been saying for weeks. All we've said time and time again is that all it would take was a team to put together a semi-decent run and they would be absolutely fine. We've been crying out for Boro to do it for months. They haven't done it at any stage yet this season. Coventry have put one simple good run together and they've gone from the bottom half into 5th and look like no one is going to replace them. So Boro need to go on a similar run, I think, to solidify a place. I still agree and believe that with the inconsistency around the sides that are in and around Boro in the playoffs, a semi-decent run would still be good enough to give Boro a pretty good chance and give us an advantage. Once again, give us something to hold on to, and instead of being the team who are catching and trying to catch and having to make the ground up, it might actually put Boro in a position where we have to simply defend our ground and hold on to it between now and the end of the season. And that's where the next 4 games come in, because as we know, Boro have only registered back-to-back wins on 3 separate occasions now, once in September, the 3-game spell in November, and the last 2 games that we've had. And the next 4 present themselves as a huge opportunity for Boro to extend that winning run, maybe to 3, 4, 5, or even 6 games if we can. And then you'd like to think putting that sort of a run together at a time like this would put us into a great position in the running with only a handful of games remaining. And when you look at the average league position of Boro's next 4 opponents compared to the final 7, you can absolutely see why the next 4 are crucial. We've got Swansea away this weekend in 16th place, QPR at home who are mid-table, we've got Luton away who are 22nd and have had a terrible season, and then Oxford United in 18th. That is a run to which the average position of the opposition is 17th. So Boro have got 4 games against teams who are pretty much averaging a very low to mid-table sort of area of the league, and are all 4 teams Boro really, if we want to be a playoff team, should be beating. So a great opportunity there to win maybe 6 in a row, or 5 of the 6 games, or 4 of the 6 with a draw in there. It's a great opportunity for Boro to string together that really, really crucial run we've been desperately waiting for. And what better time to do it, because after the next 4 games, that's when it gets difficult. Because the final 7 consist of this: Blackburn away, they're 8th. We never really do well at Ewood Park. You've then got Leeds at home, the best team in the league by an absolute mile. Millwall away, never an easy game either. The one you could say, looking in that pack of games that should be a guaranteed victory and an easy victory, is Plymouth at home. You've then got to go to Hillsborough, who are technically in the playoff battle and still might be by the time we play them. The same could be said for Norwich, potentially still at that point a direct rival in our final home game of the season. And then how about this? We finish the season away from home at Coventry. The current team, who are on absolute fire, a bogey team of Boroughs, who we never win, we can never beat them, especially at the CBS. And if we go into that final day, where it is a playoff shootout, winner takes all, it could be a pretty awful game for Boro, given our record. So that's why, for me, heading into them final 3 games especially, Sheffield, Norwich, Coventry, all direct playoff rivals, Boro need to be either in the playoffs or right outside them, because winning all 3, you don't want to go into them final 3 games needing to win all 3 with no room for error. We keep talking about Boro's lack of room for error this season. We do not want to be in a position where we're going into the final 3, 4, or even 5 games thinking, Christ, we got to win all 5, or at least 4, because then it looks like a really, really tough task. So as we've been saying all season, I've said it, Chris has said it, on podcasts, on videos, Boro have not banked enough points at points this season when we should have, against teams we should have, to give ourselves a bit of breathing room in these tougher games. So these next 4 is the golden chance for Boro to do exactly that. Bank points up, put us into a position so when we go into the run-in, we are in a position where if we drop a point here or there, it's not a disaster, it's not season-ending, and we can just move on to the next one, because it only ramps up the pressure on each game and makes getting results even harder. So I mentioned the next 4, the average position of the opposition is 17th. Well, in the last 7 in that run I just mentioned, the average position of all them teams is 10th. So the next 4, we're playing a bunch of mid to lower end teams who are in and around the relegation zone. And then in the final 7, we're playing teams who on average are in the top half, in and around the top 10, most of which are either in the playoffs or chasing the playoffs. So it is a big window for Boro coming up to get as many points on the board. Now, on screen is a graph of Boro's current points per game, where we're tracking in comparison to previous seasons. Now, at the minute, Boro are projected to finish on 66 points, which, as I've mentioned at times in many videos this season, would not get you into the playoffs. So I think regardless of Boro's season thus far, we are going to have to improve to some degree, I think, to get playoffs. We will not get in with 66 points. No team has ever gotten into the playoffs with a tally that low. In past seasons, as you can see, last season we hit 69 points, just fell short that season. We're on track to have less points this season, which is a pretty disastrous stat when you think about it. And in the season where we did get into the playoffs, we hit 75 points. Now, the average number of points that a team has needed to get into the top 6, and this is since the playoffs began in a 46-game season, the average that you've needed over the years is around 72 points. Now, granted, I don't think you'll need 72 points this season to get into the playoffs because the standard has just been that low. But when we look at West Brom, we look at Coventry are currently tracking to finish on 69 points. West Brom are tracking on finishing 68. So I think this season 70 points is a more than realistic tally that a team will need to get into the top 6. So what would Boro need to do if we were to finish on 70 points? That means we need 20 points from our final 11 games. That is just under 2 points per game, which already is sort of automatic promotion form. So you're already hoping and expecting, and Boro are sort of needing to be either next to or not far off top 2 levels of form to ensure we get to 70 points and that we are in there. And that's why the next 4 games are absolutely huge. Because if Boro are able to win all of our next 4, it would put us on 62 points with them 7 games to go. That means we'd only need 8 points from them final 7 games to hit 70, which I think is more than achievable. So that's why winning the next 4 could be crucial. That means that the pressure and what's required from them final 7 games against so many of our rivals, it takes off such a burden. It's so much easier. Even if Boro were to win 3 of our next 4 and we were to be on 59 points, we'd still only need 11 points from them last 4 games, which I still think is pretty achievable. But anything less than that, you're really struggling to see Boro getting there. If we were to win only half of our next 4 games, picking up around maybe 6 points we'd be needing around 14 points from our next 7 games. That is 2 points per game. That is automatic promotion form. And anything less, it doesn't bear thinking about. If we were to pick up a maximum of 4 points from the next 4 games, we'd then need 16 points at least from the final 7, which is over 2 points a game. That's the level that I think even top of the league aren't even hitting at this moment in time. So for me, looking at what Boro are going to need from them final 7 games, I think from the next 4, it's got to be 3 wins from 4. Quite simply put, we need to get 9 points from our next 12 and try and target getting as close to 60 points as we can. So we need maybe 9, 10, 11 points from them final 7 games. I think that is achievable. Anything more, and I really, really struggle to see Boro picking up them points in games as tough as that. And I know people will say it's the Championship, anything can happen, and it would be typical Boro to, I don't know, lose at home to Plymouth, but then beat Leeds at home and win at Blackburn and beat Coventry on the final game. But I'm just being realistic. I'm a big numbers guy. I'm looking at the numbers. I'm looking at the averages, where Boro are projected to be, where we're projected to finish, and what points we're likely going to need. And for me, there is a clear target. At the end of this 4-game spell, with the next 4 coming up, we need to be as close to 60 points if possible. I think anything less than 59 points will make the final 7 games extremely difficult for Boro. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But, anything can happen. The teams above us could start losing every week. It wouldn't surprise me at this point. And maybe the average points needed this season will drop lower than 70 points. But I think that's realistic at this moment in time. But needs to say, regardless, Boro need to pick up their points per game. We need to start winning far more games than what we have been this season. And we need to put a run together. And now, with the average position of the teams that we've got facing us in the next 4 games, this is the golden period for Boro to finally bank up some points so that the running is far easier than what it might be when we're going to Millwall, we're going to Sheffield, we're going to Coventry, and we're hosting Leeds, etc., etc. So let me know your thoughts, guys, on what you think Boro will need from the final 11 games, what you think our points tally should be, what we should target, how many points you think we'll need and what we might finish on, and most importantly, how important are the next 4 games for Boro in your eyes, and how many points do you think we need coming out of them 4 to make playoffs still an easy, achievable goal, with the final 7 games being far, far tougher. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you've enjoyed the video, guys, do hit a like on the video, subscribe for much, much more, and leave me a comment in the section below with your thoughts. I'll be back tomorrow with my preview of the Swansea game as we look ahead to another tough game in the Championship this weekend. But until then, guys, do take care, and I'll see you all in the next one.